So I want to thank everybody that's online. I want to thank all those from Michigan that are here today. Let's hear a round of applause for all of you that are here. That's awesome. Thank you. So my name is Stuart, and I'm with MS Views and News, and this is a Compass to MS Care event. For those that don't know, we are sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb, Genentech, Sandoz, and TG Therapeutics. Fortunately, we had a lot of exhibit sponsors, okay? So we have Alexion, Bristol Myers Squibb, Genentech, Horizon Pharmaceuticals, Infusion Associates, Novartis, Sandoz, and TG Therapeutics. Let's give all of our sponsors a round of applause, please. So thank you for that. So for tonight's program, we do have Mindy Eisenberg, I've always called her a yoga guru. She hates when I say that, but she can't close my mouth, all right? And, she's been doing yoga for so long, and she's been benefiting and helping so many people that we love to have her at our events. Tonight, she's going to ask a few people to come up to this area. Normally, it's a stage tonight, but we don't have that. So she's going to ask people to come on up here, and she's going to demonstrate some of the yoga that's very beneficial for a multiple sclerosis patient. So let's just get started, and let's welcome Mindy. Come on up. Thank you.
It's so good to have you guys in person and online. I'm so happy you're here with me today. As Stuart said, I'm Mindy Eisenberg. So today I want to get right to it because there's a lot to discuss and talk about and feel and move. So our objective today is to talk about why would anybody do yoga, and there's a lot of anxiety out there. And of course, I've been practicing a long time and my students don't know what we're talking about, but there's a lot of people who are fearful of trying yoga, and I want to try to dispel that. Not that I can get rid of it, but I want to have this kind of ongoing conversation so that people feel more comfortable with it. And really, let's do some breathing and moving together with focusing on spasticity and pain. Given that Dr. Cody's also going to focus on that, I thought we could complement our time together as well. So I'm going to breeze through some of this so we can really get to the demo. What's yoga? What is yoga? What do we think of when we think of yoga? People think of those fancy postures, right? It's really just mindful movement. Take your arm up as you take a breath in, and take your arm down as you exhale out. Yoga is an umbrella for different types of practices, and it is a practice. It is not I'm good at it or bad at it. We'll get to that. Some people, their practice is a breathing practice. They wake up, they either do awareness of breathing, maybe they do some different types of breathing. There's all kinds of different breathing in yoga. They might do a meditation practice, and I know so many people say, I can't meditate. Let's talk about that too, because again, meditation is not success or failure. It's being right there with your breath, and yes, with your sensations, your thoughts, and your emotions. Yoga is a way of self-care. People refer to it as an exercise, but I'm here to tell you, yes, movement's involved, and yes, this society, you see the active yogis in the hot rooms moving fast. Truly, that's not what yoga was designed for. It is a holistic lifestyle. All of these practices, whether you do all of them or one of them, you're practicing yoga. And they're all getting to the same doorway. They are the same pathway to what? The mind-body connection. The mind-body connection, no matter which one you're doing. What we're trying to do is to get to know our body a little better, our breath a little better. We are getting more comfortable with our vessel. Why yoga and what's different about yoga for MS? Not really too much. If you're not having fun doing yoga, then don't do it. Because You should have fun. Don't take it too seriously. What makes it different for me and for the type of yoga that I would like to see people practice and enjoy is that they should feel good about it and they should feel good when they leave. It's not about putting your foot behind your head. We do use props. We use straps, we use blocks, we use toilet paper. That was a COVID invention. We use blankets, we use pillows, stuff around the house. Don't have to buy anything fancy. Yoga for people who have MS, who are sensitive to the temperature, of course, it's not going to be a hot room. If you are practicing in a yoga class in person in your area, then hopefully there is plentiful assistance and your teachers are trained. So it's a little bit different because we have more assistance to help you out. Not to do the practice for you, but to help facilitate you as a guide in your practice. The benefits. You've heard about the benefits. Strength. Actually, no, you probably have not heard about strength as much as you've heard about the second one, flexibility. Everybody thinks that yoga's about flexibility, but it is so much more. Strength is very much involved. When I started practicing yoga about a year later, I looked in the mirror and I go, whoa, wait, I got arm muscles here. Never had those before. A big focus is posture, not in a punitive way like, ooh, my posture's so bad, but more about how can I feel more in alignment in my body, which helps my energy to flow more smoothly. What it can really help us with is being here, right now, in this moment, present, as we are in this space, no matter where you're at, in this body. It's about mindfulness. You develop your ability to be mindful, to be present. Very often it helps with focus. So there are cognitive components to it. The different studies have shown that it really improves quality of life for people with MS. Let's move on. So, myths about yoga. We just mentioned this one. Flexibility is required. Absolutely not. Guess who are the people who are most likely to benefit from the yoga? It would be the people who are stiffer. If we're talking about the stretching component of it, I'm hypermobile. Stretching isn't necessarily the best for me. I have to be very careful with my alignment. So stiff people are going to benefit potentially more. Now, yoga's for everybody. We adapt to the practice. If somebody's really flexible, that person's going to focus more on strengthening. Somebody who's more into strong but a little tight is going to focus more on the stretching. That's why it's your practice and nobody else's in the yoga room or at home if you're practicing at home. Success is based on ability to do the poses. Absolutely not. As we said, breathing is one of the most important focuses. This is a practice. We come again and again to the yoga mat or the chair to our practice, whatever it looks like. Maybe it's in bed. It's not about, oh, I was so great at this today. It's not about the good and the bad. It is about how do I feel. It's about being in our body. Dress code, everybody thinks they got to have something fancy or they can't come to class. And that couldn't be farther than the truth. A t-shirt is wonderful. Fancy pants, not required. How about just being comfortable? We already talked. It's not just an exercise. I used to come home from yoga, and my father-in-law would say, how was your workout? And I'd be like, Papa, it's not a workout, it's a work-in. I want to talk a little bit about mindfulness and awareness and how this can help pain. Because mindfulness is a tool that is at your fingertips. through the breath and through your ability to attune to the sensations in your body. Some people with MS have numbness, tingling, burning, pain. Sometimes pain looks like anxiety, by the way. Sometimes pain looks like depression. But the idea is that we become more resilient when we practice mindfulness, which is why mindfulness is integrated into a yoga class. Not always, but most of the time. We are becoming more resilient. We pay attention to our breath. Thoughts and emotions, they come up. And when they come up, we acknowledge them. Not as good thoughts or bad thoughts. We say, oh, thinking, or oh, feeling for a sensation. It's not a judgment. The mind is going to wander. But the practice of being present can shift how we respond to different life experiences. All right. Studies show, this is in particular to pain, whatever kind of pain you want to think about, because everybody's pain is different. The studies show that it is important to tune in, that it is more beneficial to tune in rather than to tune out or turn away. What's the tendency when we have pain? We want to run from it. Get it out of here. But what the studies continuously tell us through mindfulness is we actually have the ability to reduce the suffering, right? The pain we may not get rid of. It may be there, but our response to it can change. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. What do you have to do to be mindful? Guess what? You got to make a commitment because it's a practice. You do it over and over again, even if it gets boring. And my teacher says, until you get sick of it, you keep practicing it. And then at some point, you'll start to realize how it is impacting you. You already have the resources within you to practice this. You don't need to buy it. You can't buy it. It's in you. You have the resources to do this with your mind and your body and your breath. There's a great book, I just want to say, that just came out hot off the press by my teacher, John Kabat-Zinn, and it's called Mindful Meditation for Pain Relief, Practices to Reclaim Your Body and Your Life. He is, if anybody's a guru, he's it. But he's so human. And reading his book, you feel like he's talking to you. And he's grounded. And he's had so much success in his studies all over the world that have exponentially increased because of his dedication to mindfulness. And he learned this through the pain clinic at University of Massachusetts. Thank you, John Kabat-Zinn. Okay, it's time to get to practicing. And I have a few people who said they would come up and practice with us and do some demos. So let's start by all breathing together. You just heard me lecture. And now I want the practice to become something that you participate in. You can close your eyes. You can be seated. If you're home, you can be lying down. You could be standing. Maybe you allow yourself to close your eyes. Maybe you have a soft gaze. Pay attention to the fact that you're breathing. Really feel your breath. How often do we just take a moment or two to feel our breath? Feel the sensation of the inhale and feel the sensation of the exhale. You may notice the breath is more prominent, either with the belly moving in and out or the air coming in and out through the nostrils. what you will notice is that your mind is going to wander. We know it's going to wander. The mind was designed to wander. When it wanders away from the focus of your breath, because what you're practicing right now is awareness of breath, gently say, very kindly, let's focus back on the breath. This is a practice that we repeat over and over again. And this is a short time, so you may notice that your mind wandered only a few times, but it's expected and it's okay. And so we just return to the breath without a judgment and with kindness towards ourselves. And then you can softly open your eyes and just notice, just for that short amount of time, what it felt like to just focus on the breath, to be right with the breath. There's a sensation that we have when we inhale, the belly expands. If you want to take your hands to your belly, one hand or both hands, and as you inhale, you're going to feel the belly expand. And if you say to yourself, I'm not feeling what she's saying, it's okay. It comes over time and with practice and with guidance. And then when you exhale, you feel the belly soften back down. A functional breath is a breath that is slow in and out through the nose and low. Sometimes you'll hear people say, take a deep breath. And there's a little bit of misunderstanding about this because then people go, and really what the deep breath means is bring it down towards the belly. It becomes a diaphragmatic breath. We forget about this. We were born knowing how to breathe. Babies know how to breathe. A functional breath is low, slow, and in and out through the nose most of the time. Most of the time. Of course, if you're stuffy or there's something going on with you in your respiratory system, obviously it may not be through the nose. So let's go back now to stretching for spasticity and talk about a few things. Now you guys agree that you can be on screen, right?
Yes.
Do you want to say your names for the audience?
I'm Julie.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for agreeing to demo with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're very excited to have you. And you mentioned that you have some spasticity,
I
correct?
do. That's one of my major MS
Symptoms.
symptoms.
And your name, say it for the audience.
Hi everyone, my name is Taryn.
Taryn, thank you so much for volunteering. Now, both of you really haven't practiced yoga that much, right? So one of the great things about Julie and Taryn demoing is that they haven't really practiced yoga before. And we've got all these people out there saying, I can't do yoga, I'm scared of yoga. And now we've got these two warriors here today. So we are going to focus on some spasticity and sensation in your body. Let's start by just doing some breathing and some cat-cows together. These can be done, of course, on the floor. You might have seen it on hands and knees, but we're going to do it in chairs today. So hands come to the top of the thighs or the knees. And we're going to, as we exhale, we're going to take our chin to our chest and gaze at our bellies. And that's rounding the spine one way. And then on our inhale, we're going to lift our chest and our heart and take the head slightly back, not dropping back. That's beautiful. You guys are, if you haven't done yoga before, you're doing awesome. Let's go back and do cat pose. Take your chin towards your chest. And then inhale and lift your heart. Beautiful. You might feel your shoulder blades coming together here. And then let's sit up tall. And that little movement alone, this waving the spine forward and back, can be so helpful for for back pain or just feeling like you need to do a little bit of moving. Let's start with some upper body, which generally spasticity is not as much in the upper body. We hear about it more in the lower body, but different places. And this can be very helpful for the tightness around the rib cage with the MS hug. At least that's what my students tell me. You have to experience it for yourself. I have students who say they do this every day because it helps. And it also helps your breath. So let's inhale and take our right arm up towards the sky. Beautiful. And then take your arm over your ears. So you're going to side bend towards your left. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Inhale, open it up. Flow it out to the side. Wonderful, right? Without hitting each other, knocking each other around. Come back up again. Take a side bend towards your left. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale, open it up. Let's exhale and lower the arm down. There's different types of movement. We could be static and hold the side bend for a few breaths. We can also have it flowing. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left arm rises up. Beautiful. And let your palm face you. Side bending now towards the right. You could hold on to the side of the chair for balance. You could push down through your thighs into the seat. You could press down through your sitting bones. Because you might feel, this could be a balance pose for some people. Like they're going to fall off the chair. Inhale, come back up. Take your arm out to the side. Beautiful. And inhale, flow it back up. So sometimes we see those static poses where you're holding them, but other times we might want to invite the body into movement and take your arm out to the side and exhale, lower it down. We're going to do some leg stretches now for spasticity. And I'm going to give you a chair in front of you and show it a few different ways. So one of the nice stretches we can do for spasticity, you're going to put your one leg on the chair. How about your left leg on the chair, since that's close?
We're going to pick the weak one.
Did you guys hear that? I don't know if you heard that or not. What did you just say?
I said you have to pick the weak one of the two legs.
Oh boy, so we have this thing in class, people like to call one leg the bad leg, one leg the good leg, one leg the strong leg, and one leg the weak leg. Nope, you know what I think? That left leg, it's the left leg, and it is the best left leg you're ever gonna have.
Absolutely.
But I get it because we get mad at our bodies. That's some of the pain, right? We get mad and we tense up. It makes the contraction worse. Let's take a breath now. And let's just try this. Pick some part of your body and I want you to send it love as you breathe. Pick any part of your body, whatever you want. A part of your body you love, a part of your body that you'd like to not be with at the moment, okay? Breathe in and breathe in love, and then exhale and send love. Send love to your left leg, to whatever body part you choose. This is a practice, and it is not easy, because it's really easy to get angry at our body if it's not doing what we want it to do. And that's part of the pain. Now, let's be nice and say, nice left leg, let's do a stretch. So the first thing we do is we sit up tall. Beautiful. And then we're going to place a strap around the foot. By the way, yoga's usually barefoot. There are many benefits of it. In fact, we were talking about that in terms of it helping with feeling texture underneath your feet if you have some type of numbness or neuropathy. Very often, becoming more attuned to what the bottom of your foot is touching is helpful, and different types of texture have helped you as well. So now you're going to sit up tall and start to lean forward until you feel sensation. Now, those of you at home, you might put your foot on another ottoman, sofa, chair in front of you. Those in person, you can interlace your hands underneath your thigh. So I'm going to kind of show you with this microphone, and you're going to interlace your fingers underneath. We'll do the left thigh. How do you feel about your left thigh?
I love my left thigh.
She loves her left leg. Thank you. That was beautiful. I didn't pay her to say that. So you're going to flex your toes towards you and up towards the sky. What are you feeling right now?
A muscle spasm.
Are you? Are you feeling it? Okay, so there's some definite, so release it, please. What happens with spasticity, when I first started teaching, I thought, I'm going to fight that spasticity. We're going to straighten her leg no matter what, right? But spasticity doesn't like that. Doesn't like that at all. Guess what it does? Charlie horse, fight back, cramp, right? Nana. So we have to take another step back and breathe as we stretch. And then right before you start to feel sensation, and this is a practice, by the way. Julie might have to practice this till she figures it out and becomes more familiar with the sensation. You might want to take your leg down. It's probably getting tired. It takes time to become acquainted and aware of the sensation in your leg so that more spasticity doesn't enter it. And when you feel it, the best thing to do is to breathe and let it go. I have had students tell me that breathing alone helps their spasticity. And emotions, when you get charged up, notice, does the spasticity intensify? Some of this is in our control and some of this is not in our control. But we can use the breath as an edge detector. So is the spasming quieting down?
Oh, yeah. It goes away quickly.
Oh, so that's really nice. Thank you, spasticity. Thank you so much for quieting down. And then we say, well, how long should we stretch? Well, it depends. It depends on your body and what's going on with it. Maybe Taryn doesn't feel quite as tight, and so she might only do it for a breath or two, and she might only do it once a day or once every other day or when she feels like it. Now, we would hope you would still do it. There'd be benefit in it. But if someone has a lot of spasticity, it's going to be the repetition. It's going to be the repetition and not necessarily the holding, especially if spasticity starts to enter. I highly recommend, by the way, massage. Self-massage is part of an Ayurvedic practice that is a sister science to yoga, a real proponent of it, but you could massage the back of your leg as well. Where do you feel the stretch, by the way, in the back of your leg?
I actually feel it, I think, more
back
of my leg, but also in the foot.
Okay. Okay, from the flexing, that could happen. So you're getting a little bit of sensation there, and maybe from the strap touching your foot. Let's do the other side. You guys at home, I know you're going, we're holding this pose a while. Normally we wouldn't, but this is a demo. Leg stretches. Let me move this chair a little bit over here for you. And not get your toes on your wonderful left leg.
I love that leg.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. See, that's the practice, is becoming or falling back in love with your body, getting to know your body and who you are, right? Because we won't get into this discussion, but in yoga, we don't necessarily believe we're our body. It's our vessel. That's getting into heavy-duty philosophy. We won't do that this evening, but let's stretch the other side. Let's stretch the other side. And if you want to try a tie, go ahead and try it and see how it feels different. So you'll put the loop around your foot, and it changes whether you flex your foot or you don't flex your foot. Now, if we put this chair underneath you, you'll notice that it might feel different because now you can really focus on the stretch. So notice that. And then how does this feel this time? How would you describe the sensation? Where is it?
I feel a stretch in my foot, but I don't feel the stretch in my thigh like I did in the left leg. So this
Okay. Are you feeling any sensation behind the leg yet?
A little, very little bit.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit further because I detect she's not quite satisfied here. And one of the ways to increase the stretch is we sit up tall, so we're forward on the sitting bones. Now, did it change right now?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the part about the alignment. It's not a punitive thing, but when we become aligned, we're more in our body, and we're actually benefiting more from the stretch. So just coming a little bit forward. I know you guys see online, well, look at beautiful Marcia there, right, in our picture. Marcia is one of our teachers, and she started as a student. Look how gorgeous, okay? But she's doing the same thing. She's sitting tall. You've seen practices where they're like, oh, I gotta touch my toes, right? That's not the practice. That's not the practice. People think if they can't touch their toes, they failed at yoga. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Do you know what? If I had to pick a success, it would be you're getting to know your body a little bit more, or you're in your body. So you're becoming more acquainted with what your body can do. We walk around and we don't know where our body is. We forget we have a body. We're really in our heads as Americans. So you guys can release that. Actually, bring both feet up, because this is wonderful for spasticity too. Bring both legs up. And now sit forward again on your sitting bones, and it'll go around both legs. The strap could. And sometimes we stick a block in between to just kind of separate the legs out. And then you can flex your feet upwards. And you, by the way, could play with taking your toes outward. And so your heels are in and your toes are out, and see how that feels different. Does it feel any different?
Yes, I feel it more here.
Yes. That's what happened. Now bring your toes back up and take them towards each other. Does that feel different?
Yes.
Yeah, so just these little movements can change the stretch. And by the way, we have more than one hamstring, so the stretch will be different based on little teeny movements just like that. Let's bring your feet down now and release that. And a lot of people love gentleman's pose to help open up the hips. So let's show that one. We're going to bring our feet down, and everybody, press your feet down into the earth. If you're wearing shoes, then press your toe pads down into your shoe. We're a real proponent of taking them off. It's really good to have some bare feet, feel this texture, it's a sensation more than a feel. I correct myself. You want to feel the sensation of pressing your feet down. And I want you to notice, push your feet down like you mean it.
Yeah.
Push them down. Notice, push them down, push the toe pads down. You don't need to look at them. Don't look at them. You don't need to look at them. Notice what you feel when you push your toes down. You're nodding your head. What are you thinking?
I can feel my toes more than I usually do.
Okay. What do you say, Taryn?
I feel like my toes are trying to go upwards.
Oh, they want to go up when you're pressing them down. So they're not used to that. Now go ahead and everybody, without looking, lift your right toes. Now I know some of you are saying, forget it, I can't do it. Doesn't matter whether your toes are moving or not. If you were to have a scan of your brain would say you were lifting your toes, as long as you draw that awareness there. So exhale and lower them down. And then, of course, do the other side. Yep. And notice when you lift them, you might feel your arches lift. And then exhale and lower them down. Now let's do a thigh stretch on the front of the leg. What happens with spasticity is usually there's spasticity behind. But this area right here, the thigh, gets super tight from sitting a lot. And what we want to do is work both the front and the back of the leg. And usually if people have spasms, it's better to work the back of the leg first and then the front of the leg so that we don't get that spasm that comes on in. So we're going to show a few different ways of getting to the front of the thigh. So one way is, I'll tell you what, you're going to do, I'm going to go up here and show this and then you're going to do it with me, okay? We're going to turn to the right. I'm kind of blocking you, but I'm going to move. You're going to turn to the right. So I want you to turn that way, face that wall. Okay, now take your right buttocks, keep it on the chair and hold on to the chair, and then your outside leg is going to come down. So you're bending your knee downward. That's it. You got it. Okay, I'm going to move this and get out of the way. Let your right foot come down to the earth. And we might put a blanket under your foot. Some people get cramps in their feet, so we put a little blanket or block under there. Now you get a choice. You can have your toes curled under or the top of the foot turning down. What you're doing is allowing a lengthening through the front of your thigh. Are you feeling a stretch yet or not yet?
Yeah.
You are. Where are you feeling it? That's exactly where she should feel it, in the front of the thigh. You don't have to stay there forever.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to go on now and show another demo. You could do the other side because we want to treat both sides nicely. And now, Julie, let's do another variation of this. And I'm going to come up here a little bit so I'm not in your way. Take your body a little bit to the right on the chair, and you can hold on to the side of the chair for balance. And then you might take your right foot back and then maybe do a little bit of tapping there. And then eventually the leg comes back, and you might feel a little stretch. Now I'm going to again put the blanket under here. Tell me if you're feeling a cramp and we come out of it.
No, I can feel it. I can feel the thigh.
You need the mic in front of her face when she answers.
I can feel the stretch in the top of the thigh.
Beautiful. So is this a fancy posture? I don't know, is it? It's not about the fancy posture. It's about feeling a stretch in the front of the thigh.
I had to leave it.
Okay, and you should leave it. Now, we really want to focus on the breathing when we do this. We might hold a movement like this for a breath, a few breaths, maybe longer. We might do a little bit of repetition, especially with spasticity. We would come out of it, and maybe we'd go back in. It's kind of like dipping your toes in the water, see how it feels. Come on out, take a break, maybe go back in. So, as an aside, in an adaptive yoga room, really any room, if you need to take a break because of fatigue, you take the break and then you go back in. So you might see someone in a resting posture, whatever it is. A lot of people do shavasana, might put their legs up on a chair, or they might do a spinal twist, lying down, different ways. People find different ways. Let's do the other side. So you take a break if you need to, and that might be more about why it might be different, but this is part of the yoga, is actually giving yourself permission to take a break and to be kind and gentle to your body. So you're going to do that other side. I'm going to get this chair out of your way here. And we're going to put a blanket underneath your foot. Got a little bit of rearranging going on. Okay, so we'd be real gentle because you probably haven't done this movement before. Now, are you sending love to this left leg? I am. Okay, let's come out of it. Am I feeling spasticity right now? Or? So we come out of it. If we had more time. So when we recognize that we have spasticity, we come out of it. It's not that we're not going to re-enter it. If we had more time today, I'd probably have you do some ankle circles and some stretching more of the foot and in front of the shin and the back of the calf. We're just doing a little demo. But this is a great example of needing to come out of it and maybe going back in again. We might massage the foot or the back of the calf, and then we might go back in again. We could try. Let's see what happens. The leg is like, where am I going? I've never done this before, right? And we stop and just notice what you're feeling right now.
It actually feels better than the first time we did it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's okay. It's all right. Let's take it back out and come back out. I thought I felt a little bit of spasticity coming in. Did you?
Yes.
So that's part of learning. What does spasticity feel like? What's the edge? Part of the edge detector is, oh, I'm starting to feel it come on. Let's get out of this before it comes really on. You start to notice the timing and kind of like the slope before the spasticity starts to rise. We come out of it, and then we might go back in. All right. So bottom line is, do not get in a war with your spasticity. Better to make friends with it. Let's do a hip stretch. So you're going to do number 4 pose, gentleman's pose. And let's take the right, either the right foot's going to go towards the ankle like so, the left ankle, or you're going to bring your ankle up on top of your left thigh. That's it. There you go. And right, so now we have to adapt. And that's where something like a block comes in. This is where we start. So what do you feel now? Is this too much sensation?
No, it's comfortable.
Okay. What are you feeling right now in your body? Either of you. What are you feeling, Taryn, as you do this posture? Are you feeling anything yet?
I'm feeling like I'm sitting up straighter as I'm doing it.
Oh, you're more conscious. See, that's part of this too. Taryn's got more awareness going in through her body. Let's now go, you're going to flex your foot, and you might take your left hand to your right foot. Yep, and now we're going to lift tall, and then you're going to slightly tip forward, so your heart towards your thigh. I want you to stop when you start to feel sensation in. Now, she's pretty open, okay? She's pretty open. She's young, and she's got an open right hip. This is a difference, right? Is one good and one bad? Nope. One is not good and one's bad. One just is, and the other one just is, right? So, did you start to feel a sensation? And where is it?
Right here on my head.
Does it hurt?
It's a different feeling. I wouldn't say it hurts, but it's not my comfortability, but
It's not super comfortable?
It's not.
Is it hurting you like it's painful?
No, it's not painful.
So there's a slight discomfort or a real lot of discomfort?
Just slightly.
Okay, so that's where you want to be, but then come on out of it. Let your leg go. And so we want to breathe. You can take the leg down. We want to feel a sensation. But as Taryn said, it was a little, not too much. That's about where you want to be with it. And what are you feeling right now?
Like Taryn said, more upright, but I don't feel it in my hip.
Okay, if it's comfortable for you, you can come a little bit forward when you start to feel it. Okay, not with your head, with your heart. So heart forward, that's it. Keep thinking long through your spine, from the bottom of your spine up to the crown of your head. When you start to feel a stretch, stop.
Yeah, it feels good though.
It feels good? What does it feel like?
Just like the muscles are elongating and not as cramping.
Wow.
In
And
my
where
back.
do you feel that?
In my back.
Oh, so this is really nice for the back too. See, the legs are the governor of the back. That's what one of my yoga teachers always said. The legs are the governor of the back. If you've got super tight legs, and hips, that's going to cause some back pain. So you're feeling a little bit easing up of it. We better do the other side. And so each hip is different and each leg is different, and we can't expect that the sensation is going to be the same because it won't be. So let's try this side now. And again, your right hand is, oh, you're so good. Right hand's on your foot. You're going to lift tall. Yeah, oh, whoa, whoa. Keeping your shoulder blades on your back. Stop when you start to feel it. Are you breathing? Are you guys all breathing out there? We got to breathe and feel. You're feeling the sensation. If it starts to feel like it's too much, back off. So we usually tell people go about 30% or 20% of where you think. Did you need to come out of that?
Yes.
Okay, these guys are new. We specifically picked out new yogis. And the reason is because we really want to help you to realize that this is something new. It's going to feel different. It should not be painful. If it is, that's your body. Trust your body. If your body says this is painful, you get out. You get out. If there's a slight discomfort, you get to make the decision. Do you stay in the pose or do you get out of it? And you made a decision to get out of it. Now, that sensation for you, have you ever felt that before?
No, not really.
Okay, exactly. You haven't felt it before. Brain is going, never felt this before. Is this okay? Am I doing this right? We get this a lot. Am I doing this right? Feel it in your body. Trust your body to communicate with you. It's always communicating with you, but we have to listen. We have to listen. Anything you want to say about what you're feeling on this side right now?
It's more comfortable. When we were doing the other stretches, my foot was spasming more. This is not spasming as much in this posture.
Okay. But are you getting a stretch?
A bit.
Okay, so I saw you. You learned you got to move forward a little bit. Go a little bit more forward until you feel it, and then stop before you go, ouch.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because it's not supposed to be painful. Now you feel it.
Yeah.
So this is part of the yoga. This is the yoga. It's learning sensation and listening to what our body is saying. This is the mind-body connection. When we breathe together with this is a lot, right? Like breathing and moving, it's a lot. But we just do this over and over again. And every time we do this, the body presents differently. You can come on out of that. Let's do a spinal twist. We haven't done one yet, and we're going to do it with looking at a little bit of spasticity as well. You're going to come forward in the chair and maybe hold on to the side at first and take both legs forward and your heels forward. And you know what? Let's just circle the ankles a little bit. Circle them one way and then the other. There's no right or wrong here. There's no right or wrong. And let's point and flex. Beautiful. Now, when you're holding on to the chair and you sit tall, are you feeling anything in the back of your legs as you pull your toes towards you?
Not much.
Not much.
Yep.
You're not feeling much.
Yes, I'm not feeling as much, but I might not have been moved forward enough.
Okay. So just
Now
notice now you feel it. So here's another thing. And it was on the other slide, and I didn't say it, but sometimes when you enter a stretch, you don't feel it right away. And it takes a while for the body to register that it's feeling it. So it's a good idea to stay in it for a few breaths to determine what the next choice is, whether to go any further into it or not. Sometimes the sensation takes a little time to enter the body. So now I want you to bend your right knee and put your right foot underneath your knee. right there, right heel under knee. Good. And now you're going to take your left hand outside your right thigh. Beautiful. You're going to sit tall. And then you're going to take a twist with your neck turning last. No cranking necks. Not allowed. Notice what you feel. This is a twist. Twists, a twist a day. I mean, more than a twist a day. It's so important. We have all these areas in our body that just don't get movement in them, and it really helps move our internal organs, digestive organs. And how does it feel?
It felt great. I felt my back crack, so I think it's working.
Ooh, she felt her back crack. It feels good?
Yeah, it was a good feeling.
Okay, that's common. Sometimes people say they feel a little bit of realigning. That's probably what it was. What are you feeling, Julie?
You can feel the stretch in it. It's not uncomfortable. It feels good.
And where do you feel it?
In my back and my spine, and even in my left shoulder with the reach.
Yes. And if it's too much of a reach, you don't have to take your hand outside like that.
No, it's comfortable.
Okay, because you can always, release it, but if it's comfortable, stay with it. It tends to open up the shoulders too. Let's do the other side. You're going to extend the right leg and you're going to put the left heel underneath your knee. Knees love to be in alignment, by the way. They get a little cranky when they're not. That's beautiful. You went right into it. So now the right hand goes towards the left thigh. Grow tall. I want you to feel the bottom of your spine. Even if you can't really feel it, picture it. And then imagine that it's like a string of pearls going up to the crown of your head. And then your left shoulder is opening. And how does this feel?
This is my non-dominant side, so it feels a little different, but I can still feel the stretch.
And when you say, how is it different?
Well, I know to love both my sides, but
Oh, is she good? You are really a quick learner. Yeah. I didn't plant her, honestly. That's wonderful, right?
Yeah, I just recognize the different strong suits that both sides have, and so
yeah. So it feels different, and that might be enough to just say it feels different. But you are becoming acquainted with how it feels to have your body in this shape. Anything you want to add to that, Julie?
It's the same thing. It feels different, but I feel it in my shoulder and in my spine. It feels more open and less tense.
Beautiful. Let's come back to center, back to neutral. Place your feet underneath your knees, sitting tall in mountain pose. And let's take a breath in and out together, back to this mindful awareness of breathing in and out through the nose. And you're going to take your arms out to the side and up towards the sky. And bring your palms towards each other in front of your heart into prayer position. Bring them down, down, down to your heart. And maybe you close your eyes and maybe you don't. And think about gratitude as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, send gratitude to this body. With this breath, in this moment, in this space, right now. Breathe in and breathe out. And we say namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste means I bow and honor the light which resides in each one of us. And this practice of gratitude, we don't, it's so important to take time. That could be, by the way, your yoga practice. We have classes online, and we have classes in person within Michigan. We teach people all over the country and world to practice and offer adaptive yoga in their areas. And you can find us at yogamovesms.org. These are some of our students, and they say they feel better, and that's why they do it. They're focusing on their ability, not their disability. And I welcome you and hope that you will join the Yoga Moves MS community. And these are our lovely teachers who are saying namaste to you. We honor the light within each of you. And this is part of the practice. When you do the yoga, do you see how they glow? You get that yoga glow. People say, I want to get that yoga glow. Yep, they've got the yoga glow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, volunteers. So we're going to go to Q&A, all right?
I did notice that, and I remember from when I go to my yoga classes, whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side to equal things out. And I'm sure there's a reason behind that. But is that as important when you're doing the stretching? If you have spasticity, like for me, I have spasticity only my left side. How important is it to do the stretching, both the right and the left?
So let's say one leg has more spasticity than the other, or one hasn't and one doesn't. The one that doesn't still wants to be cared for and probably needs to be stretched out as a human leg. And so it would be good, it would be advisable to do both sides. However, what one might do is do the one side first that has spasticity, then do the other side and send both love, and then go back and do the other side again. So you might stay longer and give it a little bit more attention and love.
Thank you for that. Person in the back of the room has something to say. I get to hold the mic, you go.
Well, thanks, Mindy. This is Juanita Taylor. I would like to thanks for the invite. This is my first yoga presentation of coming to. So I just want to thank you for the enlightenment and sharing this and the opportunity to come and sit and form.
We're so happy that you're here, and I love hearing your voice.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're lighting up the space.
Thank
they
you.
can feel it online.
That's right. So there's a couple of questions that were online, one of which is, at what time of day is it best to do yoga?
So that's going to be it depends. We find with our classes that noon is most popular. Does that mean it's the best time? Absolutely not. If you know that you have a lot of spasticity, you might do it several times a day. The body took a long time to get spastic, and it isn't going to be one stretch that gets rid of the spasticity. By the way, it's not necessarily going to take away all the spasticity. There are some medications that help with spasticity, and you might do it together with the yoga. It's not necessarily an either or. I have students who tell me that they're able to cut back on it because of the stretching. So the answer is, you might want to warm up your body a little bit in bed with a spinal twist and maybe rolling around in a happy baby pose or some pelvic tilts, and then a little bit later do a more formal stretch of the leg. You might want, or I think it's about experimentation, to be honest. Try the leg stretch in bed before you get out and see if it helps you. Our students tell us they move better and they walk better. They feel like they move better when they leave class. So I would say experiment. Try it before you get out of bed and see, does it help you, or is your body not quite ready for it? Generally, we're not doing like any heavy yoga. It's usually before a meal, not after a meal. If you know that you get a lot of spasticity at night, I highly recommend doing it in the evening and maybe in bed before you go to sleep. I have students who keep a strap by their bed, and that way it's right there for them. Sometimes students wake up in the middle of the night and they feel like they need to stretch. The strap's right there for them.
All right, so the first onliner wants to just say that he hears a little Michigan tweak coming out of you, and he wants to say namaste. Okay. All right, then another one is asking, is there a DVD that he can get that, or do you have a YouTube channel where he could see more of what you have?
So we have what's called, first of all, we have daily classes that are live that our teachers teach online. So there's a class every day of the week. It's on Eastern time. And if those times don't work for you, then we have recordings in our on-demand library. And then you can practice at your schedule anytime you want. And we keep adding more to this on-demand library so that there's different practices for you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we said about the temperature, but what about, oh, another one just popped up. Can you talk a little bit about persissive massage?
Persistent massage?
Persissive. Percissive.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well,
but I did mention self-massage. It's an Ayurvedic technique. You might have heard of body brushing, which is also something that people do before taking a shower. And if you Ayurvedic practitioners very often, after they do the body brushing, will use an oil of choice. It could be like a coconut oil or a sesame oil, and they will massage that into their body before they take the shower, and they might even sit in like a nice warm robe for a little bit. So that's self-love. Of course, it's really nice to go get a massage too. I highly recommend that you get one that is used to working with people who have MS or spasticity, or at least knows their practice really well. It's nice when they have a little specialized training and experience. I'm not an expert on different types of massage. I know what I like and I don't like, and if you don't like it, the body likes a firm touch. So like a really light touch can be aggravating for some people. You really have to find someone that has the touch. But learning to do it for yourself, you also can use things like a rolling pin at home and roll the pin behind your calf is a nice going up and down. So that's something you could do for yourself. And there's also those foam rollers. That's another nice way to get into spasticity. And we didn't talk about it, but this IT band going down the leg can be super tight, and the roller can be helpful for that.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's go on to the next one. So is there a certain temperature that people should avoid in doing yoga?
It's going to depend on your body. If you are heat sensitive, like many people with MS are, obviously, you don't want that room too hot. Our students generally like it around 70, 72. If you go to the hot yoga, that's probably not for you. There are some people with MS that are not heat sensitive. People think that when they're in a hot room, it's going to help their stretch, which, as we've learned through research, is actually not the truth, even though there's like this perception. It's not necessarily going to, they might feel like it is, that the body's giving away, or maybe it relaxes them, but the heat isn't necessarily making the stretch any more intense or more range of motion. The heat isn't necessarily going to benefit you from it, but there are people that love it. But I would say, you really want to go for your comfort and sensation. That's where you're at. Listen to your body. If it's too hot, your body's telling you it's too hot, you know what you need to do.
Great, thank you for that. Can you tell everybody, please, about your program on May 17th?
Stuart planted that. We have an event which is live and in person for people in Michigan, but it is live online, and we have national experts who come to what's called our Holistic Health and Wellness Forum. And so there will be a few different neurologists, and one is from the same center that Dr. Cody is going to be speaking this evening from Owasso Memorial Healthcare, and then also from the mind. So some of our state-of-the-art practice neurologists from the area, also Dr. Boster, who many of you might know, he's going to talk about cannabis. The focus, what makes this forum different, is that the focus is on holistic health, complementary modalities that you can do yourself or integrate into your care plan with a practitioner. For instance, Megan Weigel will discuss acupressure.
Thank you very much. There's no more questions. I want to thank you all for being here. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors for tonight's program, and I'm just going to say good night.